time what we did was I kind of went over session 4 that I was gone for. And we didn't talk that much about session 5. We talked about session 5 a little bit. Feel free, go right ahead. So session 5 was kind of Nutrition 101, and we kind of talked a little bit about that. Session 6 is going to be on the food pyramid. So we're going to start it off by saying we wanted to review the principles of weight loss. And so do you guys remember any of those principles of weight loss that we talked about in the beginning? We talked about that gain in weight is eating more food than you're moving, right? And losing weight is moving more and eating less. And to maintain your weight, you're eating the same amount as you're moving. Okay, so that was the 3 principles that we talked about. And then the weight management principles were the things we talked about, that when you're hungry, that's a signal that's telling your body, I'm hungry, right? And that when we eat, our stomach stretches and then we feel full, and then we know we've comfortably eaten enough. So you might want to review session 1, the need to eat and the principles of weight management, to just get a run through. They actually wanted me to give you a pop quiz today on that, but we're going to skip that part. Okay, so the new one is on the new healthy eating pyramid. So if you look at the old pyramid looked like the pyramid in your book. The new pyramid looks like this one. So your homework for this session is going to be that you're going to draw a pyramid on a piece of paper, and you're going to fill it out for yourself. What does your personal food pyramid look like? And I know that I'm going to really be glad when I see Elizabeth. Okay, I'll know it's hers. She won't need a name on hers. So I want you to draw your own food pyramid. So when you look at the food pyramid, basically it's kind of talking about, you know, what are the food categories we need to be getting certain serving sizes in. And at the bottom it kind of talks about how much activity are you getting. So there's all kinds of studies out there that show that exercise helps your overall health. We know that. The goal is 30 minutes of moderate intensity activity most days of the week. And that the health benefits include what? Reduced heart disease, reduced chance of diabetes and cancer, keeps your weight down. It can actually help control diabetes, blood pressure, and high cholesterol. So all of that's wonderful. So moderate intensity is what? Brisk walking, dancing, bicycling, mowing, swimming. Pick an activity that you like to do. Higher intensity does reap more benefits. So if you can exercise harder, you want to do that because you burn more calories, you're going to get more hormone spike, and you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck. Have a plan for bad weather. So if you always walk outside, and you know how rainy we are right now, that's a built-in excuse for not getting everything done. So you want to make sure that you got a rain plan, okay? So whether that's joining the fitness room on the 2nd floor, having a gym membership, having a cardio piece of equipment at home, having a DVD you're going to plug in, you're going to jump rope, whatever it is, play hopscotch in the den, I don't care, but something you're going to do for 30 minutes to entertain yourself and to get that cardio in. Numerous studies have shown the link between being overweight and increased risk for high pressure, diabetes, heart disease, and certain cancers. So weight management is very important for your long-term health. Excess weight is ingesting more calories than you're burning, and it also puts a lot of stress on your joints. So most people who come to see me who have been overweight for a long time, they're already having problems with their hips, ankles, knees, low back. Okay, and it's because why? Every time you take a step, all that weight is coming down on those joints. So for every pound you're overweight, it like increases the stress on your spine and your joints like 50 times. I mean, it's some astronomical number that you would never guess it's that much. You want to try obesity. We all know what obesity is. Why? Because it's over 30 BMI. You get flagged to see the well coach if you're over 30 BMI. So know that we all want to be between 18 and 25. That's a normal one. And I would say out of all 1,600 people here on the insurance, I've had 2 that were underweight. But I've had a ton that were overweight. And the highest person I've seen from here, 67.7 BMI. So tell me how that person is walking around, okay? I mean, I know some days I'm tired pulling the clothes on. So can you imagine you got that much weight on you, what it's like to just even get dressed, get out of bed in the morning? It's a tough thing to handle, right? So we want to talk about whole grain foods because that's one of the biggies in the health pyramid. Whole grain stuff is what? Eating brown rice instead of white rice, oatmeal instead of quick oats. I know that Elizabeth likes none of these food groups. She likes all the stuff we don't want her to eat,
Look
right?
how clear her skin is, though.
Huh?
Her skin is beautiful.
I know she's got great skin, and
I
she's
know.
losing weight too. But think about the processed stuff, or your bunny white bread, your white rice, your refined cereals. So you're looking for stuff more in its natural state. So the more man fools with it, the more it's not good for you. The more it's off the bush, the tree, and the ground, the better it is for you. Healthy oils and fats. We kind of talked about that last time a little bit. The average American gets 1/3 of his calories from fats, way too much. Fats are 9 calories a gram, carbs and protein are 4 calories a gram, booze is 7. So you can see if you're eating a lot of high fat items, fat's in the right form to get stored as fat. So whenever you eat a lot, like eating nuts, a handful of nuts is healthy, but you eat the whole bag, it's not healthy anymore. Olive oil's great for you, but you start pouring that bottle and you're not measuring the tablespoons, you eat way too much fat. 1 tablespoon of oil is 14 grams of fat. Tablespoon of margarine or butter, 7 grams of fat. A little ounce of cheese, 8 grams of fat. Okay? Hey, we got a meeting going on. Close it. Okay, so you want to try to get less than 30% of your calories from fat a day. So like for instance, Dr. Dean Ornish, he was a bypass surgeon for heart disease, where they crack the old chest open and give you some more arteries, right? He decided that bypass surgery wasn't really working. A lot of people, it didn't even last 10 years because they don't change the way they eat. So he did a study with his wife where they took 10 patients and they fed them a diet that was only 10% in fat. They made them exercise and they did stress reduction. And they showed by MRI that you can reduce the fat clogging in your arteries by simply changing your behavior. So we now know that 80% of getting a disease or having a really bad chronic condition is more about your choices every day than your family history. 80%. So we can't choose what runs in our family, how old we are, our ethnicity, whether we're male or female, but we can choose what we choose to eat and how much we choose to move around. So Americans in general get too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3s. So omega-6 are all your plant oils. Okay, omega-3s come more in fish. You can get it from some nuts and you can get it from flaxseed. Okay, but we have a very high ratio of a lot of omega-6 and not enough omega-3. So it really is important to try to think about eating more red-colored fish, salmon, tuna, rainbow trout, handful of nuts, avocados, using that extra virgin olive oil when you cook, or even coconut oil. And something my sister-in-law told me over the weekend that I just picked up some is they now have coconut, the meat of it, in like shredded like, where you can add it to cooked vegetables, you can add it to things where you're adding these really healthy fats to your diet. It's tasty, and you know, you're kind of changing, yeah, maybe not to her, and you're kind of changing the balance of the omega-6 to the omega-3 oils. So coconut oil, you have to be careful that if you are going to cook with it, sometimes you can't heat it to a high enough temperature, and I'm actually using it on my skin. So I bought coconut oil you can use on your skin as a lotion. Because, you know, a lot of the stuff we use is so full of chemicals. And so I'm trying to make a little move toward not use, because we all have it in the makeup we use and all that too. So I decided, well, at least I can take the chemicals out of what I'm putting on my skin, right? The good fats are the monounsaturated, the polyunsaturated. We talked about that last week. We talked about what kind of oils are good. And bad fats, saturated fats, are what raise your cholesterol. So that's why you want to reduce the risk of cancer and heart disease and diabetes by watching the kind of fats that you consume. So most of the bad fats are in beef, milk, butter, cream, bacon, sausage, ribs, wings, pork, all that kind of stuff. That's where all the bad fats are. And so if that's what you mostly consume, that's what you're trying to cut some out of your diet. Bad fats, the trans fats, are the man-made fats. And we now know, and you often hear me say this, if man makes it, it's horrible for you. The fake fats are worse for you than any kind of natural occurring fat. So when people, and I'll tell you something else, we go and we eat fries and fried foods, we don't think anything about that. They don't change that oil that often. So not only are they using a cheap oil or an oil with a lot of trans fats, but every time they heat that oil up, it's causing chemicals and stuff in that oil that's horrible for your health. And every time they heat that oil up, it's getting worse and worse and worse. So here, all these people that live off getting a bag through the window, they're getting a lot of carcinogens that are just building up. And when you have extra body fat, all the junk in your body gets stored in the body fat. The body fat is the junkyard of your body. Every chemical you've ever eaten in your lifetime is stored in there. So that's another reason to get leaner. When you get leaner and lose weight, you're processing that stuff out of your system. So that's why they tell you if you're an apple and all your fat's around here, that's right next to your organs. If you got a big rear end, it's a lot healthier than having a big waistline. So that's why it's dangerous to have that hard fat. So I had a guy come in my office. He had a high BMI, 37. He waited around because I'm doing groups right now because we had so many people to process. We got to learn to keep people here, y'all, because turnover is killing us. But at any rate, he wanted to stand back and say, well, they wouldn't do my body fat at the wellness center. You know, you can tell from looking at me, I'm solid. And I'm like, yeah, but what about this? You know, it's solid, but there's fat underneath there. And that fat is the dangerous fat. So you can't tell me that you think you should have passed the BMI, huh? Because this is skin. It's got fat. And you just think that because yours is underneath there. And that's what we call visceral fat. And that's more dangerous than the gushy stuff on the outside. Vegetables, Lord knows, that's a subject close to my heart because 98% of people who come to my office, I say, what did you eat the last 24 hours? Nobody ever gets 2.5 cups of fruit and veggies. Nobody does. You know, and it's not because they don't like them, okay? Like you might shake your head and say, I don't like a lot of them. People like them, they're just not eating them, you know? So that is your anti-cancer fighters and your immune boosters. Got to get 2.5 cups a day. They're not that horrible for you. And beans don't count. That's a starch. Beans and rice that y'all just sat in here lapping up is a starch, okay? And they cook it with what? Fat. So just because you didn't eat the poke sausage, they still got fat in there that they cooked it with.
So this wasn't good for me? I should just
Hell
put
no.
chicken tender?
We'll have to edit that out. Okay, so you want to try to get more fruits and veggies. So of course frozen and fresh is better than canned. And you can do single serve frozen and nuke them. Okay, you don't have to do fresh. And fresh really can be cooked in a microwave just as fast as you can cook a frozen one. And with regard to fruit, you're better off what? Eating the fruit instead of drinking the juice. Juice is fattening. And the more you eat the fruit, the more you're getting all the good stuff from the skin, connective tissue, and pulp of the fruit. And what do we want? A variety of color. Red, yellow, orange, green, purple. So we want more color in our diet. So a cup of everything is a cup except lettuce. A cup of lettuce is a half a cup when you start counting it for your 2.5 cups. So if you don't eat some stuff for snacks and at lunch and at dinner, you're probably never going to get 2.5 cups of veggies a day. Fruit you might. And they give you something in here about the little serving sizes and all. So this fruit that has the most sugar is mango, papaya, pineapple, and also dried fruits. Those probably have the most sugar. So you want to kind of try to stay away from those. Bananas are high in sugar too. And you want to try to eat some of the others. And they provide a ton of benefits. I mean, the old thing about eating an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I mean, really it is true. You know, you got to eat this stuff and try to get it in your diet. And people like it. I don't know why they think that bananas are so much easier, because why? You peel them? I mean, an apple you just bite into, right? And it's so much lower calories. Nuts. We've kind of talked about nuts. The best nuts for you are pecans, walnuts, and almonds.
Almonds.
So those are the three that are best for you. Peanuts are not the best, okay? And certainly if you have high blood pressure, you don't want to eat the salted ones, and you certainly don't want to eat the honey-coated ones, right?
What about
Because you're
pistachios?
trying to lose weight. What?
Pistachios?
They're okay. They're not on your top 10 list, but they're better than peanuts, okay? Cashews have a little bit more carbs to them, but they're good for you too. But fatty acids are great, and that's what helps prevent what? Clogging your arteries, irregular heart rhythm. So getting more of those omega-3 fats are really good for your heart. Some people can't eat nuts because they have allergies, so you got to be careful about that kind of thing. And secondly, remember that a handful is good. More than a handful is fattening. Legumes. You guys had legumes today. And legumes have a lot of fiber in them. They're low in fat. They have a lot of minerals in them. And when you combine them with rice, they are a complete protein. But you do have to remember a cup of starch is 200 calories. So when you eat a cup of rice and a cup of beans, regardless of the fat, that's 400 calories. So that's a pretty big meal. You add the fat in there, now you're at 500 real quick.
How much fat do you think they put in it?
More than you probably want to know. That's why you never see the well coach eating the red beans here. Because she don't want to wear them.
Is there any way we could get this information, like the stuff that they make daily, like the
It
red
would be
beans and rice,
nice.
the
Yeah.
gumbo,
They do
the
good.
fish?
I would say this, keep sending emails to the upper echelons because I am complaining about that. And I was able to at least get the salad dressing numbers on the wall, but again, I complain about that and then I get the green beans and there's that mystery yellow stuff on the plate.
It's like liquid
And I don't know
butter.
what it is, and I'm sure it's not a high quality margarine.
They did
Or
cut the
there's so
salt.
much salt you can't eat them.
They have cut the salt, I noticed.
Yeah, the salt's better. And I am trying to work with the chef in here to get, but you know what it is, it's an uphill battle. And you got so many people that want to complain if it doesn't taste good. You know, like if it's plainer for those of us who want to watch our weight, then we got a whole group of people who don't think twice about complaining, and they want the stuff back. So the one thing we could start with is just saying, can we have the healthy food healthy?
Right.
You know, can we at least have not the additives in the healthy meal for the day? But please feel free to send emails about that and to talk to your own supervisors about it, because the well coach could use all the help she could get. Fish, poultry, and eggs. Protein, you gotta eat enough protein. If you don't eat enough protein every day, your body's gonna tear down muscle tissue and it's gonna keep the fat. So when you look at a healthy plate, you really are trying to have a big portion of that plate, a third to a half, be chicken, fish, seafood, turkey, egg beater omelets, egg white omelets, some kind of low-fat protein, low-fat cottage cheese, low-fat yogurt. So every meal out of your 3 main meals should have a nice serving of protein. So when you eat the red beans and rice by itself, that is a complete protein, but you never assimilate as much of that as you do when you eat animal protein. So if I were eating red beans and rice, I would have a chicken breast next to it, or 3 of the chicken strips, something like that with it, because I would know I'm not getting enough protein from just the red beans and rice by itself. Everybody should take a daily calcium supplement, and I'll take that a step further. You really should take multi-minerals and multivitamin every day, and it should be in a separate pill, because they can't put enough of everything in one. Most of us, if we were to test our vitamin D, our levels are low, because why? We get not enough sunlight every week.
So men should be taking too?
Yep, absolutely. Because men can get bone density problems as well, and minerals is how your whole body works on an electrical system.
Even if they drink a lot of milk?
Yeah, absolutely. Milk's giving you some calcium and some vitamin D, but it's not going to give you all the other minerals. And so if you have cramping at night, like they like to talk about restless leg syndrome, I always laugh about that, or your curls curl up at night, or you get Charlie horses, that means you don't drink enough water and you're not getting enough minerals in your diet. So I think everybody should take a multi-mineral and a multivitamin. Why? Because you're not getting the 2.5 cups of fruit and veggies every day.
So I've heard of taking a multivitamin, but what's a multivitamin?
Multivitamin, well, the vitamin is vitamin D, all the vitamin Bs, vitamin C, E, all that. But a multi-mineral is calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, zinc, all of those things, and those are the electrolytes that help the electrical system work, and that's what you sweat out when you exercise.